1893, Chicago. Inside the exhibition hall, 20,000 people sit in silence. Engineers, businessmen, journalists, and those waiting to see the outcome. A young man stands at the center of the stage, his hand resting on the switch. He knows only one thing. Once he pulls this lever, his life will be rewritten forever. What he does not know is that from this very moment on, the old world and the new world humanity has come to know will be split into by light itself. On July 10th, 1856, in the small village of Smiljan, thunder rolled across the valley and lightning flashed over the church roof. A child was born in the middle of that storm. His mother, Georgina, watched the sky glow and softly said, he was meant for the light. His father, Milutin, an Orthodox priest, hoped his son would follow him into the church. But Tesla's mother was different. She built spinning wheels and looms with nothing but her hands. Under her touch, wood and metal seemed willing, almost alive. To young Nikola, her machines felt like they had a quiet spirit of their own. As a teenager, he read constantly, finishing stories in his head when the books ran out. Whenever lightning lit the night sky, he saw whole machines turning in his imagination. So vivid, they felt almost real. His teacher said he dreamed too much. His father said such visions were dangerous. Tesla didn't argue. He just kept writing everything down. In 1870, he left home for school in Karlovac, where he first touched real physics and mathematics. One day in class, a blue spark jumped across a wire. Everyone backed away, except him. In that brief flash, he felt something like a voice, as if electricity itself were whispering that someday it would link the world together. He decided he wanted to be an engineer. His father refused. That path leads you away from the sacred, he insisted. Tesla loved him deeply, but for the first time, love didn't mean obedience. Their silent battle lasted until 1873, when Tesla returned home and collapsed. Cholera nearly killed him. 9 months in bed, drifting in and out, and more than once people thought he was gone. His father prayed through every night. Finally, frightened of losing his son, he leaned close and whispered, "If you survive, I promise, you may study engineering." He lived, and in 1875, he entered the Polytechnic in Graz. At 19, he carried out one simple question with him. Could electricity become a way for human beings to reach each other? In 1875, at 19, Tesla entered the Polytechnic in Graz, one of Europe's finest technical schools. He practically lived in the lab, arriving before everyone else and leaving long after the halls went silent. He became obsessed with motors, with the strange promise of alternating current. While classmates chatted over lunch, he would stare at a piece of copper wire as if it were a river leading to the future. But in 1878, his life began to fall apart. Tuition piled up, his health broke, his studies collapsed. He never even earned a degree and didn't have the courage to tell his family. So he left Graz, as if waking from a dream he couldn't finish. For years he drifted through Prague and Budapest, surviving on whatever work he could find, fixing machines, drafting diagrams, staying up through the night. Money was so tight he hesitated before throwing away a sheet of paper. In 1881 he took a job at the Central Telegraph Office in Budapest, surrounded every day by hundreds of wires humming overhead. That spring, a sudden illness nearly took his hearing. For a time, Tesla stopped speaking about the future at all. After surviving the illness, he understood how easily life could be taken away, and he told himself, if he could just become an engineer, find steady work, and give his parents some peace of mind, maybe, just maybe that would be enough.
Du streitest dich jeden Tag mit diesen Drähten. Nie gönnst du dir eine Pause. Manchmal denke ich, selbst der Strom will sich ausruhen. Rauslaufen, zurückkommen, wie ein Bumerang. Vielleicht würde die Welt dann sogar Energie sparen.
Ja, ich wünschte, der Strom konnte wirklich hin und zurücklaufen. Ich würde... Moment, was hast du gerade gesagt?
Hä? Ich meinte nur, meinst du nicht, der Strom will vielleicht auch zurückkommen?
Ja, ein Kreislauf. Ein endloser Kreislauf. Vrati se. Ne da se vrati. Tak kruži. Ako ne stane. Ako se ne završi. Hast du einen Stift? Papier? Irgendetwas?
Nein, nichts dabei.
Nisa linija. Linija staje. Rotacija. Mora da se okreće. Ako se stalno okreće, ne umire. Dodi, idi. Vrati se. Zatvori se.
Nikola, was ist mit dir? Es regnet noch.
Još jednom. Zauvek. Krug. Ne jednom. Stalno.
Nikola, was ist das?
Existiert nicht. Das ist kein Gedicht, Tesla. Das ist Technik.
Es wird Maschinen von selbst bewegen. Es wird das Licht weitertragen. Es ist die Zukunft.
This was the first time he ever drew the idea of a rotating magnetic field in the mud, the seed of the induction motor. For a moment, the lightning in his mind finally took shape in the real world. And in that moment, he understood something else. If he wanted to change the world, he would have to walk toward its very centre. In 1882, he went to Paris to join the Continental Edison company. His job was to maintain electrical equipment and install lighting systems across Europe. There, he saw the true scale of the industry, and for the first time, the force of capital behind it. He still believed technology could make life better, but he also began to see how machines could save people, and how they could swallow them. In 1884, he was offered a transfer to America. He was 28. He boarded a ship with a recommendation letter and 4 copper coins. Winds tore across the ocean, yet he stood on the deck, watching lightning flicker on the horizon. A line of light stretching from his childhood valley all the way to the sea. He thought New York would be the kingdom of electricity. He had no idea it would also be the place where his ideals were taken apart. In 1884, at 28, Tesla arrived in New York. In his pocket were 4 copper coins, a few designs, and a letter from his supervisor that said, "I know 2 great men. One is you, the other is Edison." New York felt like a city made of noise. Steam hissing, coal smoke rising, wires cutting across the sky. Tesla found work at Edison's company, assigned to the mechanical shop to repair generators and fix wiring. Within weeks, he restored the company's largest failing DC system. Edison joked, "If you really manage that, I'll give you $50,000. Tesla did manage it, but when he asked for the payment, Edison simply laughed. "Tesla, you don't understand American humor." In that moment, Tesla realized that science wasn't made only of logic, it was tangled with calculation. Ideals turned, yes, but more often they course on oil than on light. So, he left Edison's company. For a while, he survived by fixing machines and digging trenches, sometimes struggling to even afford a meal. But he never abandoned his designs. He was certain DC was not the future. The future, he believed, belonged to alternating current. In 1887, working in a small, bare laboratory, Tesla built the first crude form of the induction motor. No metal casing, just a spinning coil and the unwavering look in his eyes. For the first time, the rotating magnetic field in his mind glowed in the real world. And he understood, to change the world, he had to step onto its main stage. A year later, he brought a complete AC system to Westinghouse. If it succeeded, he would finally have a place to stand. And if it failed, DC would bury his future for good. By 1888, Tesla's alternating current system was taking shape, but in America, Edison's direct current ruled the market. DC could only travel short distances, demanding miles of copper wire and many power stations to light a single city. AC, with transformers that could step voltage up and down, could reach far with little loss. Which meant, if AC won, the entire DC empire could collapse. Their war of currents was not just about technology, it was about power and the future. That year, every wire on New York streets seemed to tremble with an invisible battle. DC against AC, Edison against Tesla. And in the city's air, there was a quiet certainty that Tesla was destined to lose. His AC system looked fragile beside Edison's empire. DC grids already covered the city. AC was still mostly drawings on paper. Edison had money, factories and influence, while Tesla struggled to pay for his own laboratory. The industry stood firmly behind the Wizard of Menlo Park, dismissing the Serbian outsider as a dreamer. Pressure closed in like a rising tide. Edison launched a full assault, full-page ads comparing AC to the electric chair, public demonstrations electrocuting cats and dogs, paid disruptors shouting fraud at Tesla's lectures. Politicians warned that AC would destroy New York's power system. Worst of all, Edison used his connections to cut off every path to funding, choking Tesla's dream before it could even breathe. But just when the world was ready to bury AC, Tesla struck back. He stopped arguing in newspapers and chose to prove everything with his own body, standing on a stage at Columbia University while 200,000 volts of AC passed through him, surrounded by a soft blue glow, calm and unharmed. He showed that AC was not a killer, it was controllable and safe. Then, he bypassed Edison's financiers and travelled to Pittsburgh to meet George Westinghouse. In a room filled with drawings, Tesla presented the entire AC blueprint and then made a decision no one expected. He gave up his patent royalties, accepting only a symbolic $1 per horsepower just to give AC a fighting chance. As the 1893 Chicago World's Fair approached, Edison's group slashed DC prices to nearly nothing. Tesla and his small team worked day and night, redesigning transformers, refining circuits, cutting costs to the absolute limit. But time kept slipping away. Tesla sat alone in his narrow lab, watching Edison's lamps glow in windows across the city. His hair grew whiter, his savings vanished, the fair's final bidding date drew near, AC's last chance, and he couldn't even afford to build a final prototype. On one freezing winter night, his most loyal assistant walked away. Snow hammered the windows of New York, as if tolling a bell just for him. And on the night before the World's Fair, when everyone believed the outcome was already decided, he hesitated. Standing before the switch, his fingers refused to touch the cold metal handle. 1,000 thoughts crashed over him. If this failed, he would lose everything he had in America. Westinghouse's trust, the teammates who stayed with him through freezing nights. He might have to pack his bags, carry his broken dream back to Europe, and spend the rest of his life under the familiar stars of home. He drew a long breath, gathered every fragment of faith into that one motion. If he failed, he would have nothing.
Did he fail?
He's a fraud! The device isn't reacting at all!
He really is a liar.
Move away from the edge! Come on, man, leave now! You gotta go, it's coming down! Wait a second, look! Over there, there's light!
10,000 AC lamps burst to life, a river of stars flooding across the night of human history. what people once called madness became the light of a new age. That year, for the first time, humanity saw a line drawn in pure light between the old world and the one that was coming. And, in the center of it all, Tesla simply stood there. No shouting, no triumph, just watching the sea of lamps, as if he was seeing the machines his mother once built finally moving in the hands of the world. No speeches, no explanations, only light, silent, and already changing everything. In that moment, he believed electricity was more than a way to chase away darkness. It was a language, one that could connect human beings to one another. After the lights of Chicago went dark, people began speaking of a far bigger dream. If electricity can light a city, could it connect the entire Earth? Tesla believed it could. In 1899, he built his experimental station in Colorado Springs. Before that, he had raised nearly $500,000, a staggering amount at the time, to push his research on wireless power and radio. Investors, journalists, and scholars flocked to him, calling the Wizard of Electricity a savior of the future. There, he wanted to prove that electricity could travel without wires, across land, across oceans. The air in the valley cracked open. Blue-white lightning leaped from his hands. And even in the darkness, he kept writing equations, tightening bolts, and tuning coils. Because he understood this. Once the world let go of traditional wires, only projects with million-dollar courage could truly reshape the order of things.
Ladies and gentlemen, alternating current has illuminated our nights, but light is still bound by wires stretched between cities. Now, let me tell you what comes next. We will allow electricity to travel like air, like the sea wind. No wires, no distance, no division. Every person in the world with only a single receiver will have access to light, power, and communication. Imagine this. When New York lights up, Europe lights up as well. Smokestacks no longer pour coal into the sky. Remote villages gain hospitals and radio. Energy will no longer belong to the few. It will belong to everyone. This is the Wardenclyffe Tower. It is not merely a transmission tower. It sends high-frequency, high-voltage waves into the sky and injects energy directly into the Earth itself.
Mr. Tesla, how far will this tower reach?
The entire planet.
And how do we make money?
Money? No, this will be free for all of humanity.
Free? How does it even work? Doesn't make sense.
This means deserts, islands, deep mountains, neighboring nations, people across the sea, without wires. They will have light, power, even communication. One tower can cover a continent. A few towers can connect the world. As long as air and earth remain, electricity will reach them.
And only then did he realize
No one will invest
he wasn't
in a
speaking
project
to the world that night.
that doesn't make money.
He was speaking to the future. And the future heard him. even if the people in the room did not. Funding was cut. The workers left. Tesla remained alone beneath the tower, watching the unfinished metal dome catch the last light of the setting sun. He later said that it was the loneliest dusk of his entire life. The tower was finally shut down. Debt closed in, and Tesla was forced to mortgage his lab and move into a cheap hotel. New York streets lit up again with countless lamps, but none of them belonged to him anymore. By 1905, his funding was entirely gone. People remembered Edison, the man who won, and forget the one who made electricity spin. Tesla grew quiet, though one question still flickered in him. Could electricity bring human beings together? He still had no answer. After 1905, Tesla's name faded from the newspapers. Wardenclyffe was torn down, his company failed, and lawyers carved up his patents. Edison's factories grew larger, his systems spread across America. Power grids, phonographs, movies, industry. His name became synonymous with modern life. Museums were built for him, medals named after him, textbooks printed with his portrait. In the war over electricity, it seemed, Edison had won. Tesla moved into a small New York hotel. He lived on article fees and small grants, fed pigeons, ate alone. Sometimes a reporter visited, asking what he was working on. He simply smiled. No shouting, no explanations. Just the same quiet Tesla as always. And on January 7th, 1943, he died in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. No family beside him, not even light. And on his desk lay a simple sketch. 2 crossing waves, just like the rotating field he once drew in the mud as a boy. 2 days later, the New York Times ran its headlines. Tesla dies, prolific inventor. Father of AC found dead in a hotel room. Claimed to have invented death ray, the world's final judgment on him. A mix of praise, indifference, and a touch of ridicule. That year, America still hadn't built him a statue. Yet the power grids, the radios, the generators on every street were all running in his image. 10 years later, wireless communication spread, letting voices cross oceans in real time. 20 years later came automation and computers. Decades after that, AI, global power networks, the internet. Every step followed a path he had once imagined. His dream was like a light that arrived late. But it did arrive, and it illuminated the world long after he was gone. So, did Tesla really lose? Could electricity connect human beings? Well, the answer was never his to see. It lives in every signal we send, and in every light we use at this very moment.